What's up, guys? Mike here, coming at you from the mushroom farm. Great video for you guys today. So I bet you were looking at that thumbnail and just wondering, man, is that real? Oh yeah, hey guys, this is not AI. This is a real mushroom. So if you're tuning into this channel right now and you're into mushrooms and farming, I want to let you know I've been a mushroom farmer. This is my full-time job. 10 years now almost that I've been doing this. So I'm really good at growing mushrooms. If you guys are into mushrooms and farming and you haven't already subscribed to this channel, make sure you click that subscribe button right now so you get more mushroom and farming videos like this in the future. But anyway, let me put down this baby I got right here. Okay, so yesterday I did a video. I put it up about how you could 10x your mushroom production in just 1 week. And it's legit too, so you guys can check it out. I'm gonna link that down in the description box below. It's called the grain to grain transfer technique, and I've been doing it a long time. It's a great skill to learn, so check out that video. It's just a cool video. And anyway, as I did that video, it arose a few questions, okay? So today I'm going to take this opportunity to go ahead and answer those questions that kind of arose from that video. And this will be a good one. We can kind of cover this from a few different ways. Now, the main question was G1, G2, how far can you take out your generations? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll kind of explain what I'm talking about here. There is a term in mycology when we're talking about grain spawn. So right here, this is grain spawn. This is fully colonized grain spawn. I've kind of broken it up already. We're going to get ready to put it on the bulk substrate, but this is what grain spawn is. And this is actually generation 2, okay? And I will explain what that means. And I have some grain spawn up here on the shelf. I'm just going to grab one of these real quick. This one right here, this is still growing in. I just made this bag on 5/1. This is gonna be generation 1, okay? Now, how do you make generation 1? What is the difference between generation 1, generation 2, all that good stuff? How is it gonna play a role on your farm? Does it even matter? Okay, now, so first off, if you're gonna make a generation 1 spawn, that means you're starting from culture, okay? So like liquid cultures, like I sell right here, and you guys, I make really good mushroom cultures, have amazing mushroom genetics, like this King Blue, for example. So if you guys wanna pick up some awesome mushroom genetics, just like this King Blue that you can grow yourself, go ahead and click down in the description box below. You guys can find my website. Go over there, you can get your own liquid cultures, and you guys can grow your own massive King Blue mushrooms. Also my Lion's Mane, my Yeti, it's a great strain. Check those out. But that is how you start G1 spawn, is from culture, okay? Whether it be liquid culture or agar, basically you're gonna take your culture, put it on your freshly cooked spawn, and boom, that's your G1. So what's a G2, dude? So anyway, once you get that first bag of spawn or jar of spawn that is fully colonized from your culture, let's say you take it and you want to do a grain to grain transfer. That's the video I did yesterday. I'm linking that down in the description box below. Grain to grain transfers are awesome. You could basically 10x your mushroom production in just 1 week using the grain to grain transfer technique. So check that video out, link down in the description box below. But when you do a grain to grain transfer, so that becomes the second generation then of grain spawn, okay? So it's like, kind of like, once it is fully colonized, the G1, once the G1 has fully colonized your bag, then you can go ahead and break it up. When you go to do your grain to grain transfer, that next bag that grows in is the G2, okay? Okay, so that should make a little bit of sense for you guys. Now, people have asked the question, how far can you keep expanding the grain? How far can you really go with it? Well, honestly, first of all, I'm gonna say it depends on a lot of things. But we're gonna do a cool challenge on this channel right now. And you know what we're gonna call it? We're gonna call it the Road to G2000. That's right, guys. That's right, guys. We're gonna take it to G2000. So what's that mean? That means if I'm gonna accomplish that, I'm gonna have to expand this thing 2,000 times, okay? Now hold on, Mike. Are you serious? Can you really do that? I've only heard on the internet, like I was on the Shroomery, dude, and I swear they were saying don't go more than G2. Guys, I'm going to tell you guys right now, one thing about mushrooms, these things are amazing organisms too. And first of all, you are limited by your beliefs, okay? So if you believe you can only go to G2, you might only make it to G2. But I'll tell you right now, me personally, I've been to like G10, maybe even G20 one season I took stuff to, and I saw no difference, okay? And that is how you can tell you have honestly a really good commercial strain. If you can keep going on with that, and it's called senescing. Basically, when it kind of like loses its vigor, it's basically aging the strain, okay, every time you expand it. But I'll just say, if the strain is like a true commercial strain and it's actually a stable strain, you shouldn't see too much variance there. I will say though, remember, everything comes down to kind of like genetics. It's the same thing with people. Like, you know how certain people like never get sick, or you know, certain people can like smoke or drink and they can live up to 100 or something like that. It's just due to their genetics. They were just kind of dealt like a certain hand of cards, and then that just means their body might respond different to different elements that they take in biologically. You know what I mean? They may age differently. Same thing with mushrooms, and that's kind of the thing. Like, we could get really in depth with this talk, but like when you start from spore and you're just creating like a new bloodline or a new like line of genetics just in general, that's like when you can like find all these different things. When you start crossing different things together, maybe you could like bring out enhanced traits, and just get like a really strong line of genetics. So that is why it is good to have commercial strains. If you guys want to invest in commercial strains, you should really be able to keep expanding these things and not have too many problems. I will say though, let's kind of talk a little bit more about this, because there's some nuance to this whole thing. Basically, there are certain species that don't do well, in my opinion, grain to grain transfer. For instance, my Hericium coralloides. It is one of my favorite mushrooms to grow, but I just feel like it does not do well with a grain to grain transfer because it secretes a whole lot of metabolite when it's breaking stuff down. And I've never had really that good luck with Hericium coralloides on grain to grain transfers. However, if you start that mushroom from culture, it's a straight beast every single time. And it's not really, it doesn't have to do with like the culture senescing or getting weaker or anything like that. It's literally because just what I've noticed with that one, when I do a grain to grain transfer, it seems like it's like wanting to just pin extra fast, and it secretes a lot of metabolite, and you could have just problems with that when you have too much metabolite and pinning in the spawn premature. So that's what I've kind of noticed with that. It's kind of like an anomaly. So like when I grow my Hericium coralloides, for example, I always start that from culture, and I'm basically doing a G1 on that all the time. Now, how are you going to do the road to G2000 then, Mike? So we're going to use a culture, one that doesn't really have any issues like that, something like an oyster mushroom. The way that we could really go like the furthest with this, I honestly feel like the blue oyster, like my King Blue, that is going to be the one that we are going to take on the road to G2000. So we're going to see how long we can like keep stretching out that mycelium. I'm definitely going to keep like G1s on the farm, because when I sell you guys cultures, you guys are getting like the freshest state of liquid culture possible. It's going to be a first generation, and then that way you guys start with super fresh stuff. But I'm doing this as a challenge, like on the channel, just kind of to show you guys like what is possible. I've never seen anyone do this on YouTube. So the road to G2000, how long is this going to take? Okay, because like honestly, that's a lot of generations. Like if I make it that far, it's going to be amazing, just because of like restrictions in life. So anyway, when I do a grain to grain transfer, basically it only takes 1 week for that mycelium to colonize the fresh grain spawn, okay? So you can create a new generation in just 1 week. So let's say every year I do 50 generations. Let's say I just take 2 weeks off every year to just kind of like screw around, and I don't have to worry about staying on my grain spawn. But guys, I love mushrooms too, so this is something I'm going to do the rest of my life anyway. So this challenge is for real, guys. I ain't playing. G2000. Basically, I'm going to have to work at this. If I do 50 generations per year, it's going to take me 40 years to accomplish this, okay? So I will be approaching 80 years old at that point. Hopefully, YouTube is still a thing at that point. But that's how I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to use the blue oyster. We're going to keep stretching it out. Now, I want to say real quick, what strains like do I know don't work well with keep expanding? Like I said, just that coralloides, it's a weird one. I don't like to just do grain to grain with that one for whatever reason. I always recommend going from culture. Now, cordyceps, okay, I want to say cordyceps cultivators, that's why there's cordyceps breeders, because they make new generations, because cordyceps, for whatever reason, I believe does senesce really quickly. Now, I'm not like a hardcore cordyceps grower, so they could probably give you a better answer on that than like someone like me could, but I'll just say I know those guys do breed them specifically because I'm pretty sure the strains just go wonky really quickly. Another thing, too, I want to talk about a hybrid species, okay? Shimophila hiratake, the Black Pearl King, okay? So this is the Black Pearl King, hybrid species. One thing about the Black Pearl King, the Shimofura Hiratake. I've kind of seen different results across the board, okay? Me in the past, I've complained on social media about the BPK, the Black Pearl King, how it's like not quite stable and it can do some funny stuff. Just sometimes too, when you do have hybrid species or you got some weird stuff going on with a cross or just some like special kind of genetics, you might see some weird things happen. The strains might do awkward things in fruiting sometimes. Some people claim it's due to expansion. I'm not really sure. So I do have a very fresh culture of Black Pearl King. So if you guys do want the Black Pearl King, I have that in my 8 species master pack. And I will say it is a really fresh line of genetics. I got it from one of the original people that kind of acquired it over here. I was actually one of the original dudes that got it over here years ago, but then I lost the strain and I had to reacquire it. So that's why it's a good thing that lots of you guys out there have cultures, because you never know, man. If somebody loses their library at one point in time, then maybe that way you can like buy up your strain from somebody again. So it's kind of another reason too why I do like to sell genetics, because it's just great to get these things spread out there, because they're great genetics and I like having them in multiple hands. All right, guys, so hopefully that explained a little bit about the whole G1, G2 thing, G2000, because that's what we're on the road to, baby. So stick around on the road to G2000. Let's see how long we can make it. Let's actually test this stuff out, push it to the limits, see what we can do. Like I said, I believe with mushrooms, especially like something like my blue oyster, my king blue, it's such a strong strain. I totally feel like I can keep stretching this thing out and it's really not going to make that much of a difference. But like I said too, there are strains and species that it is going to make a difference. So it's kind of like, it depends, you know what I mean? But we're going to push it to the limit, guys. We're going to have a little fun with it. We're going to see what we can do. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful and informative. If you did, please drop this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions for me, drop down below in that comment section. Blow it up, guys. Let's make it happen. But that's all I got for you on this one, and I will catch you guys on the next one.